I have a lot to say about this. I absolutely hate the Lane Kiffin saga and what it means for college football. I said it. I think Lane Kiffin is a really good college football coach. I'm not denying that. But I think Lane Kiffin really just was kind of just at the right time, pretty much, based on all these head coaching vacancies and based on there just not enough quality coaching hires to fill the vacancies. I think Lane Kiffin, again, there was a huge demand for him. I said if I was Ole Miss, I wouldn't be trying to outbid and overpay. Lane Kiffin got a bag from LSU. There's no doubt about it. I heard Ole Miss was going to get pretty close or match any offer LSU had. I'm not 100% sure if that did happen. My issue with Lane Kiffin going to LSU is Lane Kiffin leaves every single time. His commitment to his programs over the years hasn't been there, in my opinion. When we look at, again, Nick Saban firing him a couple weeks before the national championship because he's unprepared, he's looking ahead. When you look at the Raiders as well, Mark Davis wanted to take a back seat, wouldn't do it, obviously. Again, his commitment just hasn't been there. And my issue with LSU as well, if that Alabama job ever opens up, I think Lane Kiffin's walking out the door. I know that that's the job Lane Kiffin wants, is the Alabama job. Again, it just hasn't been right timing for him. Now, I have a huge issue with him leaving Ole Miss, going to LSU. I understand LSU was going to pay top dollar for Lane Kiffin. They needed him. I like that he took LSU over Florida. I think LSU is a better job over Florida. But when you look at Ole Miss in comparison to LSU, I said it in the episode this week that we brought out. I think, again, when you look at LSU from an alumni standpoint, they have better alumni, no doubt. When you look at LSU in recent years to Ole Miss, when you look at, I'm talking about like last 5, last 10, not the last 2 years, because you could argue Ole Miss has been better the last 2 years. But last 5, last 10, again, LSU has definitely been the better program. And LSU apparently did promise more NIL spending, is what Lane Kiffin wanted. But when you look at building a program, when you look at Ole Miss having the best year, arguably, in their history, they're in a prime spot to win in the college football playoffs, and you leave, that's bad. Not only that, you could have had a statue built at Ole Miss. When you look at Ole Miss and you talk about NIL spending, I get it. NIL spending is huge. I said it time and time again. I think bringing the right players in via NIL transfer portal is more important than having an X and O guy. I think recruiting is more important than the actual coaching standpoint. I understand college football coaches wear way more hats in the NIL. I think bringing in talent is more important than X and O's. Is Ryan Day the best coach in college football? I think he's a really good coach. I'm not sure about that. But Ohio State has the most talent right now. I think bringing in talent in recruiting is more important than the actual X and O. So I understand Lane Kiffin's standpoint of wanting the most NIL money. But my issue is, like I said, you've proved that you can do it with Ole Miss. And I don't like the outsider's opinion saying Ole Miss doesn't have a pathway to a national championship. I think that is 100% false. When you look at Thumb in the SEC this year, they're a one-loss team in the SEC. The reason why I don't have a national championship expectation this year is because really nobody does. Because like I said, it's just a year where Ohio State lays over the field, in my opinion. But again, any other year, this team has as great of a chance as anybody. They should have a puncher's chance because, like I said, Ohio State is just so dominant. But I get it. You want the most NIL money, but it is proven that with the NIL money that Ole Miss gives you, you can compete for a national championship. That's proven. You have made this team better than when you got here. They're a true, in my opinion, national championship contender from year to year. So I think, again, from a job security standpoint and from the standpoint of again, loyalty, not jumping ship, I think he made a huge mistake. Tremendous mistake. Because I'll tell you one thing, Lane Kiffin has 2, 3 losses in the middle of the season in the next 2 years. He's back on the hot seat. That happens at Ole Miss. He has a lot more long-term job security. And like I said, in comparison, I get it. LSU, in my opinion, is the better job. But to leave Ole Miss, something that you built up, a team that's a true contender in the SEC, I don't think it's that much of a job leap. And again, we knew Lane Kiffin was leaving. If he wanted to stay at Ole Miss, he could have just said that. He could have just said that. But we had to stall it out like a LeBron decision. We knew once he didn't say that he was going to stay at Ole Miss, he was as good as gone. And I knew that was going to happen. I told you guys this in the beginning of the week last week because, again, way too many suitors. He has way too much demand. And again, Ole Miss was just bound to get outbid. Oh, God. I think it's horrible for college football. And I think, again, it's going to be very hard for coaching. I think it's very easy to move the deadline for players. You got to move the negotiations past the college football playoffs. It has to happen. Now, do I think Ole Miss made the right decision not letting him coach the college football playoffs? Not letting him finish what he started? I know that's the argument. 100%. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin decides to leave, you send him out the door. I don't care if Lane Kiffin, as your coach, improves your chances. He cannot coach. It can't happen. It cannot happen. You can't have another month of him looking at your players, looking at your staff. If the staff wants to go, let him go. Like, you can't have him around the facility for another month. You can't have him around the program for another month. And again, it creates more turmoil, in my opinion, with the players. Them having bitterness that he left. I don't think that's a good, stable environment. 100% agree with them letting him go. Like, he cannot coach. He cannot continue to coach, continue to be recruiting, continue to have that turmoil. Like, again, bad situation. 100% agree with that. That really wraps my thoughts up on this Lane Kiffin thing because I really discussed this to you guys the whole way through. I think it's horrible. I really do. And again, when you look at the amount of buyouts in college football, I get it. Florida's kind of just had to happen, but going over the rest of the coaching hires, like very briefly, it's really bad in my opinion because you're buying out these coaches for, again, 30, 40, $50 million, and you're hiring these group of 5 coaches. Like, does a John Summerall deserve it? Yeah, 100%. But like, again, you have these $40 to $50 million buyouts, and then you're not even guaranteeing that you have a better coach at the spot. Again, I think that's in a pretty bad state of college football as well. You're taking big risks. Group of 5. Again, we've seen a ton of successes happen, but group of 5 to Power 4, again, it's not a guarantee. The one coaching hire that I really did like, and I told you guys the whole way through this college football season, I think people should be looking at him, was Will Stein to Kentucky. I think that's a beautiful hire. I was kind of hoping Will Stein could have held out for maybe a little bit better job. But again, he's in the SEC as a head coach. It is a pretty good damn job. And I think, again, what you have to pay Will Stein at is not the competition of, like, again, obviously like a Lane Kiffin or other head coaches because he's getting a promotion from coordinator to head coach. I think college football should go super young. I mean, when you look at Oregon with Will Stein, when you look at Ohio State with Brian Hartline, you're looking at, again, young up-and-coming coordinators, and then you're looking at people who really understand the new age of college football with NIL, with transfer portals. What Will Stein has done with that Oregon group, when you look at Dante Moore, Dylan Gabriel, Bo Nix, like making all those guys NFL quarterbacks, again, I love the hire. Absolutely love it. I think Brian Hartline should be the next guy hired as well. That's pretty much it.